But on another real note, why is Juzo a prettier girl than I am? Hey everybody, it's the girl Otaku here, and Tokyo Ghoul episode 4. This was definitely an action-packed episode, and I cheated a little bit for next week. I read ahead in the manga just a little bit, and we are looking at an equally action-packed episode for episode 5. I'm going to try and keep this review short and sweet, as this wasn't my favorite episode so far this season, but it wasn't terrible. I think the main problem with this episode was mostly the pacing. They were jumping from all these different fights for all these new characters and not really giving that much background information. I know a lot of people were definitely upset about that. I didn't really care much for the fight scenes in this episode, only because Heisei wasn't really involved in a lot of them. Mato was pretty cool, pretty badass, and kind of creepy in this scene. This is one of those instances where they know each other and we now know that they know each other, but they haven't really explained how or why. I am definitely curious about the clowns and how Uta is involved with them. I'm not sure if that was explained in the original Tokyo Ghoul manga, but it's definitely my top priority. Reading that is the first thing I'm gonna do once finals week is over. Now, I've seen mixed reviews on this auction scene with Mutsuki and Uta. I know that it's changed a little bit from the manga. The reason why I liked this scene so much is because Mutsuki's kind of having just a little bit of a mental breakdown. When Uta walks up and he puts his hand on his shoulder and he leans down and he tells him that the plan has failed and that nobody's coming to rescue him. I don't remember if there was music playing, but all of the chatter and talking in the background ceased and it was like dead silent, and Uta whispered so quietly, it was chilling. Personally, I liked that better than had he remembered it when he had escaped later in the episode. Juzo was such a badass in this episode. He always is. I love it every time he's on screen. But on another real note, why is Juzo a prettier girl than I am? It kinda sucks when all of the men of Tokyo Ghoul are prettier girls than you are. But I really love how all Juzo has to do is whip out some knives and then Ayato's like, oh my god, that's Suzuya. So yeah, this scene was pretty cool. Now, getting into the big reveal at the end of the episode, Takizawa is a ghoul now, no longer a human. I knew the name Takizawa sounded extremely familiar. I knew he was probably from a previous season, but there's so many characters, I can't remember everybody. Now, after the episode, when I looked him up, I saw him in his human form, and well, hell yeah, I remembered who he was. He was another one of my cinnamon rolls. There was a point in Route A, however, when I knew that something bad was going to happen to this kid. I had expected him to die, but I didn't really expect this to happen. I saw a bit of a spoiler for this, so I kind of have an idea of what happened. I do think that the adaptation could have been a lot better, because of course when I first saw the episode I was like, oh, okay, new person, but then when I read the manga, boy was I shook. Big changes from the source material, and personally I think that it would have had a greater effect if they would have kept the design similar. The censorship at the end of the episode is understandable, it's expected, not too mad about that. While I was reading that chapter, my jaw just dropped. Like I said earlier, we're looking at a lot more fighting next episode. Hopefully we get a little bit of explanation as to who all of these characters are. There's just way too damn many. Alright, so like I said, pretty short and sweet. Not a lot to say about this episode. Okay, that's it for me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you check back next week for another episode review. Have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video.